It is December 19th, 2022, and I thought I would share with you some of my favorite reads that I have read this year. Most of them are from the last couple months. I did not do much reading in the beginning of the year, so I was definitely in a reading slump, and then pulled myself out, and I have been reading since August, maybe? Yeah. So the second half of the year I have been reading, which has been very nice. It gives me more things to pull from in my imagination, and I have some of my favorites here to share with you. So I have 10 of my favorite reads of 2022. Starting at number 10, we have Rosemary's Baby, which I read for the Summer Scale Readathon, which was, I liked it more than I was expecting. I had not seen the movie. I watched the movie after I read the book, and they are incredibly close to each other. Yes, this one, if you don't know, is about a woman whose husband is an actor in New York. Does this say what year it takes place? 67. So this was in the 60s, and her husband and her move into this apartment at this amazing building, very hard to get into, and all the neighbors are super friendly, and she gets pregnant with a baby. She's super excited, but something might be afoot, and yeah. So yes, definitely isolation while being surrounded by people. It was well done, and a very fast read. Hide and Seeker. So this is by I don't know if it's Daka or Daka Hermon. This is middle grade. This is more upper middle grade. It was very spooky. Roy's ears are static. They're so cute. Oh, my boy. Anyway, yes. The boy, whose name is Z, has been missing for a year. Comes back and is not the same. He's physically scarred and mentally scarred. The main character has to come to terms with the fact that, like, his mother has passed away, his friend Z is now back, and has been gone almost as long as the main character's mother has been dead, and is trying to deal with all of the mental baggage that comes with best friends leaving and family members dying and financial issues, and it was very well done. It was pretty scary for a middle grade, especially when you get to like the nightmare world, because there's two worlds. There's the real world, and then a other where people disappear to. So that's pretty cool, and I recommend. Next on the list is The Stitchers by Lorien Lawrence. So this one is actually a comp title to my own middle grade horror, and it says, "They're coming for you." Sure enough, each neighbor's gaze follows us through their windows, their eyes hollow like skeletons, their mouths twisted and open like they're screaming. I force myself to wave, even though my arm feels heavy. Mike follows my lead and waves too, even though he looks just as stiff as I feel. Not one neighbor waves back. So this is about the main character, I can't remember her name, and her friend Mike, and there's something up with all the old people on the street. Like, they seem to be getting younger, and like the guy who had trouble walking is now running marathons, and this lady is always covered in thick makeup and seems to have something's off. So like, I don't know, it was really cool. But I recommend The Stitchers. This is actually a first of a series, and I have only read this one, which is the first one, and I enjoyed it. Next up is Coraline by Neil Gaiman. So this one is also pretty scary. So if you don't know, it's about a girl named Coraline. Her and her parents move into a flat, and things are very boring for her, very dull. Her parents aren't super attentive. They don't buy her the colored gloves that she wants. And so she likes to explore. She goes exploring, finds a door, and it leads to a replica of her apartment, but different. And her other mother and her other father are there with the button eyes. So that's what this one is. And it's her trying to figure out things. There's mysterious things going on. But yes, highly recommend. Very good. I think this is the best middle grade that I read this year. So Hide and Seeker, and then Stitchers, and then Coraline. Lovesickness by Junji Ito. So there is this person wearing black with pierced ears who will give crossroads fortunes in this town in the fog. And if you get a fortune by this guy, you will probably die. So he tells terrible things. He gives bad fortunes. And yeah, I'll read the back. It says, an intoxicating beauty turns a small town to a bloody hell. Ryusuke returns to the town where he once lived, where rumors began swirling about girls killing themselves after encountering a bewitchingly handsome young man. Harboring his own secret from his time spent in this town, Ryusuke attempts to capture the beautiful boy and close the case. Starting with the strikingly bloody Lovesickness, this volume connects 10 stories showcasing horror master Junji Ito in peak form, including the strange Hikazuri siblings and the Rib Woman. So, yes, recommend this one. Next is a short story collection called Smashed. This one is 13 chilling nightmares presented by the master of horror. Try not to be noticed when you eat the secret nectar, otherwise you'll get smashed. What horrific events happened to create the earthbound people tied to a certain place for the rest of their short lives? A strange haunted house comes to town, but no one expects it to lead to a real hell. Welcome to Junji Ito's world, a world with no escape from endless nightmares. So this is a bunch of short stories that are unconnected. So it has Bloodsucking Darkness, Ghosts of Primetime, Roar, Earthbound, Death Row Doorbell, The Mystery of the Haunted House, The Mystery of the Haunted House, Soichi's version, Soichi's Beloved Pet, In Mirror Valley, I Don't Want to Be a Ghost, Vision, Library Vision, Splendid Shadow Song, and Smashed. We have Shiver, another Junji Ito collection, which I liked a little bit better than Smash, but they're both good. This one says, including 9 of Junji Ito's best short stories, as selected by the author himself and presented with accompanying notes and commentary. I enjoyed the commentary. An arm peppered with tiny holes dangles from a sick girl's window. After an idol hangs herself, balloons bearing the faces of their destined victims appear in the sky. An amateur film crew hires an extremely individualistic fashion model and faces a real bloody ending. An offering of 9 fresh nightmares for the delectation of horror fans. So this one has trypophobia in it, for sure. And the stories are Unused Record, Shiver, Fashion Model, Hanging Blimp, my favorite, Marionette Mansion, Painter, The Long Dream, Honored Ancestors, and Greased. Greased is so gross! Oh my gosh! I'd read it before online and now I own it and it's still as gross as ever. Top 3 books of the year. This one I just finished tonight. It is Infidel. It is a Western comic by, I cannot pronounce names, Pichetshote and Campbell. So this is a, let me show you the prologue opening page. Like, This thing is disturbing. So it is about a woman of color who is Muslim in America, and her dealing with racism and xenophobia and Islamophobia, and living with her boyfriend and her boyfriend's daughter, and the apartment is haunted on top of all of that. So this was very well done. All the ghostly specters are disturbing, and I thought it was very well done and not too heavy-handed. It was actually scary. So highly recommend Infidel. All right, second best book of the year, Uzumaki by Junji Ito. So this is his spiral story. It starts out with vignettes of stories that take place in the town, and then it all comes together. And so good, so good. So let me read the back. Spirals. This town is contaminated with spirals. Kurozocho, a small fog-bound town in the coast of Japan, is cursed. According to Suichi Saito, the withdrawn boyfriend of teenager Kiri Goshima, their town is haunted not by a person or being, but a pattern. Uzumaki, the spiral, the hypnotic secret shape of the world. This bizarre masterpiece of horror manga is now available in a single volume. Fall into a whirlpool of terror. So this blew my mind. I loved it so much when I read it. This has been my top book of the year until about a week ago. So yes, this has inspired me. Junji Ito has inspired me to want to get into more of the comic side of horror and drawing. So yes, this has inspired my own collection based on stories around the word fall and the concept of falling, whether it's a fall from grace or physically falling down or nightfall, things like that. So this has been a big inspiration. Yeah, highly recommend Uzumaki. And now, the top read of the year! It is PTSD Radio. This is by Masaaki Nakayama. So this is Omnibus Volume 1, so this is Volumes 1 and 2 combined. And yeah, it's a bunch of really short stories. So you can see the table of contents. There are 18 stories in the first volume and about the same in the second. So, well, the stories are chapters, so they seem like pieces of stories, and then they all weave together. So each of them is actually like a radio frequency for a chapter title, and each radio frequency, like 89, is one particular main character story, and then it will go to 64, back to 89, 57, 89, 23, 82. So it goes back and forth, and at first they all seem disconnected, but they have started to connect by the end of Volume 1, and then Volume 2 you're like, oh my goodness, they are connected. So yeah, there are some amazing drawings, like this hair shadow person with things within. There are Roy, his squeaky toy. Like this man who lights a cigarette in the darkness and does not even notice the thing right beside him. So, this is what has inspired my current rendition of horror comics that I'm working on, which are my drabbles being transformed into like 7-page chapters. So really short, really punchy. I don't think mine will be all interconnected, but this weaves the interconnectivity extremely well. So this is all about, let's see, the cult horror hit from the creator of Fuwandotane comes to print. An unseen hand tugs at your braid. You find an old sealed box with a tangled mess of dark hair inside. In the hallway, outside your room, a river of curls is slinking away, an ominous lump at its heart. It won't be long before you feel Oguchi-sama's fingers slithering across your scalp. Before it's too late, turn into PTSD radio. So this is my book of the year, and the next 2 omnibus volumes come out next year in English. So I am super stoked for that. So yes, those were my top 10 reads for 2022. I hope you enjoyed and maybe found one that you want to pick up. So I will leave you all here and see you later. Keep your reading spooky. Bye!